All right. Good day, everyone. Welcome to Bright Hill Podcast. Thank you very much for the first recording we had, the 1 year anniversary recording we had. We got so much love. People came in, not just people coming in, but they also asked questions. They also contributed. You know, we don't really like care much about numbers, right? But even with the little community we have, we really, really, really appreciate everyone, the love everybody has. And we decided that okay, let's just you know do this better by releasing more episode as podcast or audio format.
Yeah.
Uh I with me I have my amazing colleague with me, Isaac, an amazing guy.
Mm.
And one topic we are going to talk about is something he knows very much about. It has to do with money. Money. Isaac has sufficient experience with this. Trust me. Trust me. Not even every lawyer knows how to handle situation like this. Not every lawyer. So that's why today is an amazing guest. Because Nigeria, Nigeria. So today we'll be talking about issues that deal with money, account restriction, PND on account, what you have to do when this happen, what I mean, the actions you're supposed to take when this happens. Because I'm very sure that even though you've not experienced this, probably you have one uncle or one auntie, one dad, one mom somewhere that's probably experienced this before. So let me just start with defining what deposit means. So it's a restriction on an account which stops an account holder from carrying out debit card transaction, money transfer out of the account, and check transaction. So it's almost like your account is frozen.
Yeah.
It's like pandemic, like what happened in pandemic. Everybody just stay where you were, no
Mm-hmm.
movement, something like that. So let me start with this question for Isaac, right? So and I'll make this question a bit personal. Like, can you like maybe just tell us your first experience handling situation like this? I mean, what happened? How did you learn? The mistakes that maybe you even made, and let's start from there so that you can usher us into it.
Okay. So my very first experience handling a post-no-debit issue on an account was last year, 2024, and the
Okay.
guy reached out to me, said his account has been placed on PND or lien, as they say. So he was unable to make transactions on the account. He was unable to make transfers, or the money was coming in, but he couldn't make any transfers out of it. He couldn't withdraw his money. His account was placed on PND. So I asked him, "What do you do?" I mean, that's really the question. What do you do as a professional? What do you receive money to the account for? And most of the time, most people that reach out to me for this kind of issues, 9 times out of 10, they say, "Oh, we do crypto, we trade in cryptocurrency, so we receive um, payment into our account in Nigeria, and this happened." So 9 times out of 10, it is cryptocurrency.
Mm,
So, and the issue with that is that the CBN does not really encourage the, the transaction of cryptocurrency with Naira accounts or with Nigerian banking system. They feel it is too unstable to allow that kind of thing penetrate into our system, and it could cause some catastrophic meltdown within the banking system. So
mm,
back then, during Governor Emefele's tenure, he made a circular saying that banks should restrict any account suspected of doing cryptocurrency. So now, although that decision has kind of been reversed in a way, but there's still that propensity for banks to still restrict accounts doing cryptocurrency. And this is because now cryptocurrency has not just been seen as, oh, that thing that people do because the people do that the government does not really approve of. Now it has been seen as another means to an end. People use cryptocurrency for money laundering.
mm,
People, because it is virtually untraceable. So people use cryptocurrency for money laundering. There's a lot of fraud happens on platforms that trade cryptocurrency. So there tends to be a lot more scrutiny when it comes to crypto transactions. So the guy told me, oh, I used my account for crypto transactions and it was frozen since it could have even been for a long time. You probably even know that he needs to reach out to a lawyer. I mean, he when he complained to the bank that, oh, my account is frozen, they told him to go and get a court order, and he didn't know
Mm,
how to go about that. So he was asking people, "What's up? How do I do it? How do I do it?" And then someone recommended him to me. That's what referred me to him. I told him to reach out to me, and he reached out. He said, "How can I get?" So when I asked him, he said, "This does currency." I mean, I guessed as much. This is why they usually freeze people's accounts. So what I
mm,
did was I filed an application. There's something
mm.
we call an application, a motion and
Well,
notice.
sorry to cut you. Let's not go into the nitty gritty of the application because
Okay,
we still intend on doing like a second recording, like an episode two
okay,
of this. So this is
yeah,
just going to be more of preliminary step,
no problem.
uh, into it.
Mm,
The reason why we want to make it this way for those that are going to hear us is that we just want to take you step by step into what is
mm,
expected of you when these things happen. The first thing,
mm,
don't panic. You don't need to
yeah,
panic and say, "Oh, you don't need to." So
yeah.
that will lead me to the next question. You've kind of answered that in parts, but I would ask you directly: is one? What's like the first step you advise clients or account holder, sorry, in this case, to do once this happens?
Okay, well, if your account has been frozen, you first have to answer the question what you do, right?
Okay.
And even it is not just for me to know, it's also for the courts to also know.
Mm, mm,
Because not all courts will just grant an application um to unfreeze an account or to lift PND on an account. You get, so
mm,
they have to know what it is that you do, what it is that you are, or what is
mm,
related, so that they will not end up unfreezing an account of somebody who is subject to a crime. That's
mm.
why when you want to bring when we want to go to court to tell the court to lift the lien on this person or the PND on this person's account, we have to serve the bank that, hey, we're going to court. If
Okay.
you have any reaction to our application, come on. Sometimes the bank come with their own order that they got from another court telling them to freeze it. So it can either be two ways. It can be frozen arbitrarily by them, or
Okay.
you can freeze it in respect to an order of court that they received ordering them to freeze it. So
Mm,
it is one of those two things. And if they usually when they get it from another person from another of court telling them to freeze it, it usually involves maybe investigation of a crime or tracing money laundering, or maybe there's a glitch in the system. So you have to know what it is that you do first. Was it that you receive money in the ordinary course of your transaction? Is it that you do cryptocurrency? Is it that you don't even know do any of these things and they just freeze your account for no reason? You have to tell. That's the first thing you should do. I mean, there's not much thing to do, and sometimes this process is not something that is sharp, 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 sharp.
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, your account has been frozen. There's really not much you can do. Just
You
have
can
to
do.
relax and not
Yeah.
panic, and of course, consult on time, because you
Yeah.
see some people whose accounts have been frozen for months and they won't say anything until like almost a year later. Maybe they don't, maybe because lack of awareness. I mean, lack of
Yeah.
awareness is the reason for that sometimes. So that's part of the reason. So first step would be, tell me what it is that you use your account for. Tell me what transaction raised that flag that the bank will restrict your account, because they are
Mm,
actually empowered by the central bank to restrict any account where there's a fraud complaint.
mm,
So if you ever maybe you have a transaction with someone and you defrauded someone and the person feels you defrauded them, they can always report to you or to their bank. Ah, this person defrauded me. You know this sometimes, when someone maybe someone's WhatsApp account is hacked and then
mm.
they use the person's name account
Payment.
number, maybe your friend, to talk to you and say, ah, help me send this money to this account. Let me send money
Yeah.
to this account. To please, I have reached my transaction limit for the day. That's usually their MO. And then you send it to that account, and then you're like, ah, let's say this person a fraudster, and then you report that account. So usually if a bank receive a complaint of fraud on your account, they would restrict it. They don't even
Okay.
need a court order for that, so they will restrict it. So the first step is, what do you do? What did you do with this account? What was the last transaction that entered into this account? So we have to ask those preliminary questions to know the next step.
The next step. Oh,
Yeah.
very insightful. I mean, I read on a case you recently shared with me, talking about this arbitrarily taking banks taking this action. There's this case
Yeah.
about EFCC sent a letter to GT, uh,
Mm.
and telling GT to place the
This account.
respondent account, on restriction. I mean, and the court held that a letter is not the same as a court order. I mean,
Sure.
there is also important that uh, agencies or authorities take
Mhm.
proper due step, you
Yeah.
know, before enforcing uh, these actions. So that's
Hmm.
what. So it shows that, I mean, whenever these things happen, court actually, when you have to even submit an application before the
Yeah.
court
Hmm.
before your application can be either granted or denied. But I
Hmm.
mean, that's why you need the expense of a lawyer to help you with these things. So
Hmm. Yeah.
it's not something that there's no other rule about it. You need a lawyer to help you with it. So let's go to the next thing, right? So
So I'm
the,
sorry, before we do
okay,
that, you mentioned that case I sent to you about the OEFCC writing a letter to the bank. And I
yeah.
think being on both sides of
Mm,
parties involved in cases like this, I've been on the side of the
okay,
customer trying to get his account unfrozen. I've also been on the part of the bank trying to
okay.
protect itself from liability. I've represented banks, I've represented individual customers. And
Mm,
for individual customers, they like to place reliance on that authority, GT Bank versus Adidamola. And the authority is that you cannot freeze an account without a court order.
mm,
EFCC cannot order a bank to freeze an account without a court order. But there are now other authorities that have come up in recent years, like Kuda Bank versus Blessing or Ipoloju versus EFCC, which says that a bank does not necessarily need a court order to restrict accounts,
oh,
especially in light of how quick electronic transfers are these days. You know, before, if you can send billions of naira out of an account within minutes. Do
mm,
you get? You can send it, you can wire it to a foreign country, you can put it in a country, one country like that where you can't even find, like, electronic transfer take minutes these days. And sadly our judicial system is not as fast as that to even, you know, capture that speed. In fact, if you want to get an order to freeze accounts these days, you would have to wait almost a month before that order can be ready.
it's crazy.
You have to wait a month for that order can be ready. And this is, I mean, this is also talking about PND. Sometimes when you mistakenly send money to someone and everything, I mean, we'll talk about that in the second leg of this
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
podcast. So, well, part of it, when you mistakenly send money to someone and the other person sends it out, before you can go and get a court order to unfreeze that, to reverse that money that you send that person, time has gone, and that person has probably. So when you complain about a fraudulent transaction, a bank has a duty to place a lien on it based on CBN's instruction. So they
Mm,
are covered in that regard. And then based on CBN's instruction, they are covered in that regard. And also, in most account opening packages with banks now, when you open an account opening package, basically like a contract between you and the bank, and there's a clause there that says if your account is ever suspected of fraudulent activity, it will be frozen. And you,
oh,
by opening the account to the banks, by signing the contract to the bank, you have already given your
the consent.
express consent for them to freeze it.
That's very interesting.
So
I
they
mean,
don't even need a court order to do that. So that's another new development. Other than the, I mean, if you are a customer, if you are an individual person that is account has been frozen, you can rely on GT Bank as Adida Mola, which most people usually do. But if I am a bank and I want to protect myself from liability, I'm going to rely on Kuda as
about
blessing,
good person blessing.
Pelojo and the FCC to protect
Mm,
myself. So there are two sides to it.
mm. Very interesting. I mean, it look see, I don't think no matter if we like, we should take 24 hours to record this thing. It's it takes a bit of experience
Yeah.
and to know these things. Isaac didn't
Mm-hmm.
also learn these things overnight. It's as a lawyer too, it requires experience doing these things time after time to be able to do it. So just
Yeah.
as I said earlier, very important if you experience this thing, you need to reach out to a lawyer ASAP.
Yeah.
So there's one interesting thing, right? Sometimes back I saw a tweet about, I think it was a lawyer, a lady, issues about police, bank trying to get police to arrest somebody claiming, why will of course, that, I mean, it's okay to even feel that way. You go to the bank and your account, you ask questions. Why
Of
is my
course.
bank? I mean, I demand. I think the only thing that banks does is that they will show you a court order, and that is it. I don't really do much explaining, and it disturbs clients a lot. So that will lead me to my question: what is really the rule? What concerns police or security agencies in this?
For
Like,
these things.
especially
Okay.
when one is involved with security agencies, like, waiting with their business. That's the question.
The reason, one of the things I said about why banks freeze accounts is complaints of fraud.
Mm,
So if I believe you defrauded me and I report to my bank and
mm,
I also report to the police to investigate, police has a duty to come after you to arrest you for fraud on that
mm,
complaint. So what happens most of the time when people's accounts are frozen? I tell them do not approach the bank physically.
mm,
Do not approach the bank physically because if the police are involved, they will first go to a court. They will now pray the court for an order to freeze your account.
mm,
And part of that order they will pray for is that, and pray, sorry for people who don't know the meaning of that term, pray. It's not like we're actually praying, we're asking. It's a term,
asking
it's a
you.
legal term. We're asking, so we call it praying the court. So part of what they ask for in the order is that they arrest the person on site. So if you go to the bank, I think VDM, Very Dark Man, had this issue when he went to GT Bank to complain about an account that they told him to wait, and as he waited, EFCC came. So what you usually do, if you go to complain about your account being frozen, they'll tell you to wait, then they'll contact the police to come and pick you. So what I tell my clients, under no circumstances should you go to the bank.
Alone.
Under not even alone and with some, if you go alone, even if you don't go alone, if you come with your family members, police will super all of you. So
I mean, some can think that you can go with your lawyer, right?
yeah, even with your lawyer, I wouldn't advise it because the police will tell you they have a warrant for his arrest or they have an order of court telling them to arrest him. So you can't necessarily stop them. I mean, your lawyer is not exactly bulletproof as well because people like to think we are something that we can stop things with just law because police don't reason that way. So usually they will ask the court to put a clause to arrest you on site. So advice: do not go to the bank physically. Contact them on the phone. Contact them. Um, Tell them about the whole this thing. Hey, my account has been frozen. Oh, what do you want? What do I need to do? They will tell you what you need. They will tell you, oh, bring a court order. If they tell you to come to the bank, don't go. Contact your lawyer.
Hmm.
It is usually a ploy to arrest you on site if you go to the bank physically. So contact your lawyer and he will know what to do from there. So and the
Mm,
police, they're usually involved when this thing involves fraud. I mean, I don't necessarily see a lot of that. I don't necessarily see a lot of that, but I have seen enough to know that police, if they're going to be involved, have really gotten an order to freeze those accounts um and
arrest
to
you.
arrest you on site. And one thing, if an order is already subsisting, there's already an order on ground telling them to freeze your account. What your lawyer will do is either to get an order from a higher
Okay.
court, because courts in Nigeria have hierarchy, they have levels, they have stages. There's courts like magistrate courts, area courts, customary courts at
Mm,
the bottom. Then we have state high courts, federal high courts in the middle. then we have
Mm,
Court of Appeal, and we have the Supreme Court. So if your order is gotten from the
mm,
magistrate court, you can, or magistrate court, area court, customary court, you can get an order to set aside. You can pray the, your lawyer will know how to do that, to set aside that order or appeal the to a bigger court to throw aside that
to,
order. And they are even, I think they are even
mm,
and even the constitution also provides that only state high courts, federal high courts have the power to hear things like unfreezing of accounts or lifting of restrictions on accounts. So one of the justifications for opposing an order from a lower court like magistrate court or area court or customary court is that they don't have the jurisdiction to give that order. So only state high courts, federal high courts do that. But the applicability of it in real life is different. Because some of these applications are quite a lot and the voluminity of it, or some states still allow magistrate courts and area courts to handle things like freezing of accounts and the rest. But that's not how it should be. But because they are so voluminous and a lot of people are having that complaint, and so they allow them to do it. I mean, it's faster that way and it helps this thing, but
mm.
in actual sense, it's not necessarily proper.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we don't want to take much time, but I have one or two questions here that we'll just take as soon as possible. I mean, you mentioned fraud. You mentioned maybe when you mistakenly send uh, funds to another account, right? That's what cause some of these things. Are there other things that cause possible account restriction that you mean
Mm,
in your little time, in your little time?
it's mostly just fraud. Okay, yeah. I mean, fraud, mistakenly sending money to another account. And there's something that has been happening rampantly these days. When banks suffer glitches, it usually affects
Oh,
a lot of, yeah. When some people
me too.
hack into a bank's vault or whatever, back in those days, they would physically go to the bank and rob with guns and everything and carry away money. But these days, they would just hack into the bank's accounts and siphon money out. I mean, last year alone, we had about, or was it this year? There were about three different um, glitches that have had with different banks. If I'm more than three, probably like five different accounts, different banks. I don't want to mention their name. Different banks. If you check online, glitches in Nigerian banks, you will see a lot of very popular banks that suffer these things. And what they won't tell you is that if that money, I mean, it's easy to trace electronic transfers. If that money
Yeah.
makes a way into your account, maybe it glitch into person that stole it or the group of people that took it, received the money, they spend it around, and found the money, found the way to get into your own account. It's going to freeze, even if you didn't know anything about it. They are going to freeze your account. I mean, they'll get a court order and they will freeze your account as well. So what would happen is that some of these guys, this is why I said cryptocurrency still has that they still scrutinize it. Some of these guys would get the money that they've stolen from the banks through the cyber attack, and
Mm,
they'll quickly use it to buy crypto. And once they use it to buy crypto, they'll transfer it to the person who sold, transfer the money to the person who sold the crypto to them, and then they've gone in the wind, and you can't even trace it. So that person is the person the banks will trace the money to. So you being a third party person, you have no idea that the bank even suffered a glitch. You have no idea what is happening, and then all of a sudden you are saying that they've restricted your account, and you ask why. They said the money in your account is bad naira or something, or it's a glitch. It was as a result of a cyber attack and traced it to your account. And you're like, how now? Me,
yeah.
I only sold coins to someone, I only sold USDT to someone, and now you're restricting my account. Even the person is gone with the wind because it already traces this thing to the wind. And then again, that's another major things that causes restriction on accounts, right?
Mm,
Causes restriction on accounts, and what you can do to that is also get a lawyer because there's really not much you can do from your end. It's a lawyer that would go to the courts, tell the court, hey, this person received this money on basis of a business transaction. Knows nothing about the cyber attack, cannot let him suffer as a result of this. So it's a lawyer that will still help with. that process as well.
That
So
process,
that
yeah.
so it's either mistaken transfer into your account and cause it to be restricted, or complaints of fraud, or cyber attack glitches that proceed funds from cyber attack glitches that find a way to your account. So I think that's just three major things that cause restrictions on
That's very
accounts like
interesting.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've even answered my last question because I wanted you to explain what third liability can mean, and what
Like
because
this.
and you kind of explained that oh, you don't even know anything about this thing. The money just entered into your account and you are
Yeah.
wondering. I
Mm.
think I'm not sure, but if this also happens to a third party too, I think the person just needs to follow all these things that you've mentioned. Of course,
Yes.
contact contact a lawyer, and follow the advice of such lawyer. You've even highlighted most of it, just in this session, which is very insightful.
Yeah.
Well, I think the next episode we would have, you guys need to come with your pen and jotter. Because now, me and Isaac will be digging deep into, even what happens in court, the steps that happen in court. I don't think you
Yeah.
can get, in terms of how we deconstruct legal matters, I don't think you can get it like this anywhere. You understand?
Mhm.
Uh, because we like whenever we talk about it with our content, we play it out in our listeners' ear,
Mm.
which is the sole purpose of what we do. You understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have any question, really, you can we'll try and set up. We already have our email address,
Yeah.
which we are going to share. We're going to add it to the description where you can, drop your question, you can make your comment. If you want to reach out to us, you can also reach out to us there too. So we'll drop it. I'm trying to remember the name of our email address now, but I'll get it and we'll drop it.
Bright Hill Legal
Legal
Associates at
Associates, yeah,
gmail.com. So
yeah,
it's without spacing. Bright Hill
exactly,
Legal Associates.
exactly. But I mean, we'll drop it so that it will be very easy for you guys to like put out to us. We'll also drop our WhatsApp or contact numbers so that you can also reach out to us. See, we are, I mean, you can reach out to any of us. We are really, really chill people. So, see you on the next episode. It's just a continuation of what we talked about today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great one.